Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
All right, welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay Classic. Tonight is John's movie, a little palate cleanser, as always with John. Nice, gentle film that makes everybody happy. We'll talk about that in a second, but before we go there, let's talk about what you watch. Let's start with Sean and Debbie. I can't wait to hear Debbie's take on something.
Well, we did watch the Oscars. And like Trish said, she texted me that it was like a sedative. And I said, it was no dope.
It was meaning, I don't know. The kids these days, dope is usually good. I don't know. Is that good or bad?
It was no dope.
It was not good.
She said it was a sedative. I said it was like no dope.
But the real thing we watched was the Jim Jarmusch film, The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah.
Jim Jarmusch.
Zombie film?
What? The zombie film.
Yeah.
With Bill Murray and Adam Driver and, Tilda Swinton. It was a really fascinating movie. However, I don't think people who love the quirky Jim Jarmusch character kind of studies may not like it because it goes too zombie. But I don't think it goes zombie enough for fans of the genre. But there are a lot of good laughs, and it's a very
scale of 1 zombie to 10 zombies.
Yeah, what's too zombie? What does too zombie mean?
Very zombie.
People are getting their heads cut off and everything. So it isn't Mystery Train with a comic zombie thrown in. It's people are there's samurai swords and shotguns and people's heads being blown off and all. So there is real zombie action in it, but probably it doesn't take itself seriously enough, or it's not conventionally funny enough to be like Shaun of the Dead. So it's sort of like a quirky Jim Jarmusch film where there's a zombie attack.
I think the biggest problem with that movie is that it's not actually good. So it's hard. Hard to talk about it positively.
Hard. What was that about?
Did you see it?
Other than that, it's great.
I did see it. I was disappointed.
But here's my problem with the film. I think it would have been a good movie if it found the balance. I just don't think it found the balance.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's not Jim Jarmusch enough, and it's not zombie enough, and then at the end it gets all meta. And
Bill Murray is now doing all these zombie films. I mean, he was very meta in Zombieland, which I thought was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So he's, I guess,
Zombieland.
This is his new thing, huh? So it's no Zombieland. All right,
I
John.
thought Bill Murray was good. I enjoyed him throughout.
Love seeing
Bill Murray's good all the time.
Yeah.
John, what do you got?
Well, let's see. I watched a bunch of stuff since we skipped a week, but I guess the one I'll talk about, since we have so few people watching our other show, is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And everybody knows I'm a big comic book fan. I'm a big Marvel fan. I loved WandaVision up until the finale. I was really looking forward to this. I love Anthony Mackie. I love Sebastian Stan. I love their chemistry. It really started off strong, but it the last 2 episodes were it just wasn't good. And part of the problem is, and we talked about this on our StreamQuest show. I don't know if you want to show up the logo, Ralph. You're going to pop that up?
Here we go.
But when Marvel got bought by a major conglomerate company, they definitely changed how they do the movies, where, comic book movies for me are escapism and entertainment and fun. And that's what you want. That's what comic book movie fans want. And now they're lecturing us about things that are going on in the world. And it's like, I get that 24/7 outside of the movie industry. And I was really looking forward to this, and I was so disappointed with that.
Well, didn't Superman, the Christopher Reeve versions of Superman, didn't they do the same thing by the 4th one? He's doing nuclear, he's flying.
Oh, absolutely. And that was Christopher Reeve. And that's why that movie bombed.
I know.
Almost as good as The Dead Don't Die, the Superman 4.
Exactly. Well, Superman 4, but I mean, the whole lecturing
thing. I like The Dead Don't Die better than Superman 4.
Look, if you watch The Boys on Amazon, The Boys on Amazon is just reflecting what's going on in the United States.
Yeah,
they're not lecturing, they're reflecting.
No, they hit you. No, it's hitting you over the head with it.
Oh, maybe.
every minute of the show, and it's like, okay, we get it.
Listen, my favorite Sebastian Stans is him in Hot Tub Time Machine. I thought he was great.
Very good in that.
He's great.
Yeah.
And the
He's
production
also-
values are like movie quality in
Right.
this series. I mean, they're really outstanding, but they just, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I watched.
Have they been? Do you guys know? Are they doing all these shows through COVID, or were these shot before COVID?
No, well, they started pre-COVID and they finished during COVID. After a span of not doing anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're shooting them during COVID with all kinds of protocols. Which when you see the movies, you don't. How could they be doing protocols? But whatever.
Yeah, I think we coined a new word, PK, pre-COVID. I mean, PC.
PC. I mean, I think PC.
Well, I was where you're going with PK. I didn't know where you're going with that, Deb.
PK. PK.
That actually goes into what I'll be talking about. So thank you for that setup. Down the
There
line.
you go.
I guess
that,
Drew's next. Are we?
no, Brojo's next. Brojo's next.
Yeah, don't we do the wheel with Drew? We
It's
got to
coming
do the
up.
bit.
Don't worry about it.
I
It's
don't
been
wanna-
a few weeks, so we got a bunch on here. So get
yeah,
ready.
sure,
Oh,
absolutely.
jeez.
Probably got like 38.
I'm sure.
It's only been 2 weeks, so
I love it. Also, Drew sent me the wheel, and he told me what streaming service it's on. I think that's fantastic.
yes, I want people to be able to find it
That's
unless
right.
I
All right.
unless I
Rojo,
tell
what do you
them
got?
to watch it.
Well, in the last couple weeks, let's see. I finished watching Shameless. I saw the series finale. Thought it was pretty good because series finales, they usually screw up. We've been watching The Wire over again. Man, such a good show. The writing is just so good on that show. I'm looking forward to David Simon he's working on another series set in Baltimore.
I Got a
And
Monster. Or are they doing it off the other book?
I think it's the other
gun
book.
trace. The gun
Yeah,
trace.
it's the other book.
Is it
Yeah,
the book you just bought?
it's the book I just bought.
Yeah.
I bought I Got a
about
Monster. I'll say.
about the Baltimore.
The Gun Trace Task Force
Yeah.
scandal,
Yes.
right?
Thank you.
Those very bad,
Yes.
very bad cops. Very bad.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to, seeing what his next thing brings. And then we've been watching 30 Rock because it's hilarious. I can't ever believe that show was canceled. We're up to season, what are we, 6? Oh, it's so
That's
funny.
a long time. That's a long time for a series anyway.
Yeah, but it's good.
Who's
It's
the,
really, really good.
Who's the gentleman that wrote The Wire? The Maryland guy?
David Simon.
No, the other guy. He's from Silver Spring.
Ken Burns? Not Ken
Ed
Burns.
Burns.
Ed Burns, I mean.
No. Okay. I'm going to tell a
Rafael
story,
Alvarez?
and I need this guy's name. Walter something. It's Walter. He's the guy that writes all the stuff for The Wire. He's a Maryland dude. Anyway.
David Simon created The Wire.
Okay, I'm gonna have to IMDb you guys while live. Okay.
Oh, this is riveting. Can we cut around this? Can
No.
we cut around this?
No.
Hey,
Uh,
Roger, do you watch The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Yes,
Yes.
That's a great show too. I
Yes.
love her. Ellie Kemper.
it is.
And Tina
I
Fey
interviewed
created
Carol Kane when she was still on that.
that. She's great on that.
Yeah.
She's great, period.
Yeah, that's a funny show.
She's great,
Oh,
period.
Michael Spedden was in the movie they did.
Oh
Did
yeah,
you-
the guy
did you
who
see
was
the
on
movie?
here.
No, he was in it?
He played the
He
bartender.
was the bartender in the movie.
Oh, I'll have to check
What was,
that
what was
out.
the movie?
That's funny.
Kenny Schmidt.
All right, back to me.
Go ahead, Ralph. Walter.
His name is George
Jablonski.
Pelicanos.
Oh, George Pelican.
which
George
is so
Pelicanos,
much
the
like
detective?
Walter.
Okay.
Pelicanos
Well, anyway,
is the
he
private
he
detective.
writes a lot of. He's from Silver Spring, Maryland, and he writes for The Wire. He's done a lot of good crime books. Anyway, I threw him out of my house at a party in Silver Spring because he just walked in like he owned the place, and I threw him out. Had no idea who he was.
Nice.
Turns out, pretty famous dude.
Boy, you've been
tossed him out.
beating yourself up over that.
Oh
one for
my God, I'm
years.
killing myself.
At least neither of you have memorable last names, so you won't remember.
Never. This guy's famous. I think he does it. Walter, George, same thing. All right, Drew, we got to spin. Hang on.
Oh, wait, do you want me to talk about the one first? Because I have
that's
a
right.
really
That's one
a really
that we spin.
special one.
That's right.
So I actually was one of the, I think it was ultimately it was 117 people that watched the whole Oscars. So I was one of them. And even though
I didn't watch the whole thing.
yeah, I don't blame you. Even though it was very sleepy, even though the broadcast itself was terrible, there were a number of good movies and there was some suspense about who was going to win and stuff. But I watched the movie just in the past couple of days because it took me a while to get through it, that will absolutely sweep all of the categories next year. I was shocked. And it's going with the PK spelling. It's a little movie called Mortal Kombat with a K. And it strikes this incredible balance where it's horrendous, but it's also really boring. And
We gotta watch.
the game is pretty simple. It's basically a tournament between different people fighting to conquer the earth, and it's about killing people in a gross way. And this movie is about finding people to fight in the tournament and then training them to get powers. And the way you train them is you make them really upset until stuff comes out of their bodies or they shoot things. It's really compelling. And then at the end, you'd be like, well, now we have, the tournament called Mortal Kombat, but we're going to do that in the next movie, I think, because they don't have a tournament in this movie. And at the end of the movie, they defeat the people they should have fought in the tournament. But then at the end of the movie, the leader of the bad guys, Raiden, character played by Tadanobu Asano, one of several excellent actors wasted in this terrible movie, he says, now we have to find the rest of the champions. I was like, oh, so they'll make the same movie again. Great. How exciting.
Drew, I was through 3/4 of that movie today, and I was going to finish it when we were done here. Now I'm not.
Well, and when they promote it, they talk about how it got an NC-17 rating, and we had to dial back some of the kills. And the video game was about big gross kills, so it has some of that. But nobody that you're watching kill or be killed in these gory ways, who cares? It doesn't matter. And they waste, like I said, Tadanobu Asano, who's a great Japanese actor, and Hiroyuki Sanada, another excellent actor. He's in one of my favorite samurai movies, The Twilight Samurai, and a lot of other stuff. And if Godzilla versus Kong is the way to take a property and do something really fun with it, good job, Warner Brothers. This is not. So I can't wait for the sequel.
Wasn't there another
Mortal Kombat movie that came out years ago?
Yeah.
Well, there was Mortal Kombat that my friends in college, they all played the game, and they're like, let's go to the movie. And I said, it looks stupid. And they said, what if we got you drunk? I said, let's go. So I had fun, but it wasn't good. And then they made a sequel, Mortal Kombat, I think Annihilation, which is actually even worse than the first one. And then they were trying to make the third one, and then I think they realized, wait a minute, this will cost money. It's dumb. So they didn't end up making it. And then the rights went back to Warner Brothers. This is Warner Brothers, a New Line. But the first movie was actually Paul W.S. Anderson. So we wouldn't have, if he hadn't made that movie, we wouldn't have Event Horizon and all 15 Resident Evil movies. So like the birth of an auteur.
You do like House of the Dead too, or
that's Uwe Boll, the German guy who makes terrible movies for tax failures. Yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson is a competent filmmaker, but this is a guy's first movie, and you should skip it.
Well, I think you can skip the
Fatality, indeed.
Thanks for that.
I liked Event Horizon. It's terrible, but it's fun.
Well, the first Mortal Kombat is terrible like that. This is just bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, Drew, you get 2 more quick, okay?
Oh,
right.
Yeah, let's do
Wait,
it.
what about the wheel? Yeah, okay.
That's what he said. You get 2 more wheels.
Yeah, that bit's coming, Sean.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. How do I get there? There it is.
Frank
Right,
of
so-
Ireland.
Frank of
Frank of
Ireland.
Ireland. That's a new show. It's on Amazon Prime. It's 6 episodes. It's a comedy. It's kind of like Eastbound and Down, watching people be really crappy and proud of it. It's okay. It's pretty funny. It's by Domhnall Gleeson and his brother. They wrote it and created it. Those are the sons of Brendan Gleeson, who's a very famous actor and has been in a lot of stuff. And he's a Mad Eye Moody in the Harry Potter movies and lots of other wonderful things. And Domhnall Gleeson was in the new Star Wars movies as General Hux, and he's been in a bunch of other stuff. And so it's funny. It's like 6 episodes, pretty naughty, and I don't know, 25 minutes each. So it was cute.
That's good. All right. Next. Hang on.
And with that, there
The
went
anticipation
our
is
9
killing me.
followers.
No, we have over 100.
We're lucky if we have 9 followers. Jesus.
So The Nevers is Joss Whedon's new show that he's no longer on because he's a terrible, terrible person. And I think a lot of people are put off from watching The Nevers because it was by Joss Whedon, who I may have mentioned, like Mel Gibson, is a terrible person. And I think I've only watched the first episode so far. I think there are 3 out. It's actually pretty good. The cast is great, and it's about Victorian London. And one day, something, we don't know what it is yet, something happened, and then all these people, mostly women, suddenly have abilities. So it's kind of like a steampunk X-Men thing. And it's clever and it's fun, and I'll watch more of it. But don't let Joss Whedon put you off because he's not really behind it. And it was really by Jane Espenson, who wrote on Buffy and Battlestar Galactica and lots of other stuff. So if you like other Joss Whedon type shows, it's definitely worth checking out. The Nevers on HBO.
All right, I'll be real quick because we left John about 15 minutes to talk about his film, so this will be good. I'm going to recommend.
Look at John's face.
I'm slightly recommending a documentary series on Hulu called Sasquatch. It's
Ooh.
3 episodes. As I mentioned on our other show called Stream Quest. Insert logo here. It takes a turn. It's interesting because it plays like it's going to be all about Sasquatch and Bigfoot, and it takes an interesting turn. And it's all about Sasquatch and Bigfoot, but in a different kind of way. So it's kind of cool.
Is there 2 films about the same thing? Is this the one about Sasquatch killed all these drug dealers or something?
Yes.
Is there another one about this, or is this the only one of them?
I have no idea. I saw a Sasquatch movie. This couple, like a found footage thing where a couple goes to same place and Sasquatch ends up dragging him out of the tent and taking him away. Spoiler alert.
That's Bobcat Goldthwait's movie. That's pretty good.
That's right. That's right. It's creepy as hell.
It is creepy.
This one is about some drug dealers who got killed up there in Humboldt County or wherever it is where they grow marijuana, and how the Bigfoot legend got integrated in all the stories. So, and it's pretty cool. And it's done by the Duplass brothers, produced by those guys. Anyway, so take a look. All right.
That's on HBO? What's that on?
It's on Hulu.
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 Oh, we don't get it.
And you can watch it. It's you can stream all 3 of them right away. So kind of fun. All right. So John, what film did you bring to the table?
Well, Ralph, it is my absolute pleasure to bring a movie that, after Promising Young Woman and the depth and seriousness of that film, I wanted to, as you said, cleanse the palate a little bit.
Yeah, because there's no alcoholism in this film at all, right?
Or bad parenting.
Yes, there is, Ralph.
Yeah, slightly. but it's fun alcoholism. It's fun.
I would appreciate
It's
if you
back
didn't.
when alcoholism was fun.
It was fun.
Let John go. Come on.
Oh my
Misogyny.
God. Oh my
Introduction to this film.
God.
So anyway,
At least he prepared an introduction.
this is
So good.
19. Wait a minute. This is my introduction. No, I'm just kidding. This is 1982's my favorite year, and the story is about a television show called King Kaiser's Comedy Cavalcade, which is based on Sid Caesar's Just Show of Shows. So for me, it did a couple of things. One, I'm a big fan of that genre of TV, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, that whole group. And so that retro into that era, I really love. The television was relatively new, and there was only a couple of networks, and everybody was watching this show. So I'm a fan of that. And Peter O'Toole, Lawrence of Arabia, you think of Peter O'Toole.
Sorry.
That's okay. He's the reason why you watch this movie. He is absolutely brilliant in this movie. He's hilarious. He's making fun of himself. And by the way, his character is based obviously on Errol Flynn, and Markland Baker's character is based on Mel Brooks, who wrote For Your Shows along with Neil Simon and Carl Reiner. So it's really Mel Brooks' story. Who produced this movie? It's directed by Richard Benjamin. For me, Peter O'Toole stands out above all else. And I also love Joseph Bologna in this, who plays King Kaiser. I think he's hilarious in it. And basically the storyline is he's going to guest on this show, and he's a drunk, and they want to make sure he's going to show up. And Markland Baker plays a writer on the show who's also, he worships this guy. And at some point, he realizes it's a live show and not taped. He freaks out, and he ends up saving the day. And for me, they actually shot a scene where Mark Lynn Baker's character goes to the cemetery and sees the tombstone of Alan Swan, the actor. And they didn't end it that way. They ended it, for me, on a much higher note. And I actually, when I think about that scene, as he's sitting there waving to the audience and Mark Lynn Baker's voiceover, you can hear it. This is the way I want to remember him. I get a chill thinking about it. But it's one of these movies that Ralph, it shows him drunk, but it's all done for laughs. And it's very funny the way they do it up until a certain point where it gets a little bit serious. But his portrayal, Lainie Kazan, and it's a very funny movie. It's not a cynical movie. It's a feel-good movie. It's for me, it's one of those movies at the end of it, I'm smiling, right? And I talk about that a lot on these shows. I like to go to the movies to be entertained, as I have said, and you guys, some of you think that's a bad thing, but that's why I go to the movies. This is one of those movies that it just makes me happy and smile, like Singing in the Rain.
I'm going to lean back for a second.
And when it comes on,
that's what I say. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. It's not a bad thing. Don't
well,
take
you
it
make it
okay.
sound like it's a bad thing.
That's how you're hearing it in your head, and that's fine.
You only like happy movies. That's what you always
we'll
say.
do therapy later, but
And
right now.
Yeah, but in all fairness, John, you always say, Ralph doesn't like anything black and white. Ralph doesn't like anything black and white. And
Yeah,
then
but that's
he
a
argues
fact.
and says,
Well, let's do this. Let's show the trailer because that's
Yes.
the whole
I'm sorry, I
movie.
should have done that first, but I just love talking about this movie.
Okay, so let's show the trailer and then we'll talk about it after.
It was 1954. Television was live, and Benji Stone landed the job of his dreams as a TV comedy writer.
Alice, what are we seeing?
Alan Swan's movies.
It was the year Hollywood's greatest hero swashbuckled his way onto live TV and into Benji's life.
He's blasted. Good God, it's Renfield. I thought he was dead. Swan better be at every rehearsal sober, or it's your neck.
They've asked me to stay with you and help you over some of the rough spots.
Like showing up.
That's one. Another is not passing out.
What sort of heroic idiot am I this time?
A musketeer idiot.
I read that on the airplane. Very funny. Very good.
I wrote that.
Did you? Bravo, Stone. Bravo. What about the Stork Club? We'll be two for dinner.
Oh no, Mr. Swan, this is exactly the way it started last time.
And you know, I'm supposed to watch you.
Good, watch this. Now all we have to do is to get from here to there. I'm going down now. Have a light.
5 minutes to air. This is places, people. Sure, this is live television.
Live.
What are you doing?
Drinking and leaving.
Take it.
Well, I'm afraid. I'm flesh and blood, life size, no larger. I'm not that silly damned hero I never was.
To me, you were. You couldn't have convinced me unless you had that courage. Nobody's that good an actor.
I'm not an actor, I'm a movie star.
Alan Swan may have been the worst person to look up to, but it was the best time Benji ever had.
It's 30 years for this.
My favorite year.
Well, just a couple other things.
Wait, before we go on, can anyone name the narrator of that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mason,
we were talking about
Mason
that.
something from
Mason
Lou
Adams.
Grant.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Mason Hill?
Don't ever
Adams.
Mason Adams. Don't ever test me again.
You did.
Anyway, so a little tidbit. The elderly woman that he danced with in the Stork Club was Gloria Stewart, who played in 1933. She was in The Invisible Man, and in 1997 she played the elderly Rose in Titanic. So she was actually the woman that he danced with. Yeah. So again, I love this movie. It's one of those. It's a feel good movie, and actually the reason to watch it is Peter O'Toole. But I also will say I think this is the best thing Mark Lynn Baker's ever done. You know, he was on Perfect Strangers, and he did a couple. You know, he's done a bunch of stuff, but he was, and I think he got an introducing credit in this too. And Ralph, I will also say that when I watched the trailer for this today. I thought the same thing you thought. They gave the whole plot of the movie away within the trailer. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, so I wanted to bring this to you guys, and I'd like to hear what you guys think about it.
Well, I was listening to a podcast over the weekend with Norman Steinberg, the writer, and he said something straight. He's like, you know, he was brought in. The script already existed by Dennis Palumbo. Mel Brooks brought him in and said, "Hey, this is me on show and shows doing Errol Flynn. That's how I want you to write it." And Steinberg said, "I'm not going to write the character as you." And Brooks said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because you're too abrasive. I'm going to write the character as me." And if you notice, the character's name in the film is Steinberg. So he did write it as him. And he also talked a lot about the difficulty of getting Peter O'Toole. The studio did not want him. He was very unreliable. He was an alcoholic. And they wanted,
so he played himself.
The guy from Tom Jones. What's his name?
Albert Finney?
Albert Finney. They wanted Albert Finney. But Albert Finney had done 2 movies, I think previously, Shoot the Moon. He said, "I will do this movie if you'll wait 6 months for me." And he goes, "But you should really get Peter O'Toole." And they're like, "That's who we want." He goes, "You should get Peter O'Toole because it's based on Errol Flynn, but also John Barrymore." And
right.
O'Toole was a huge Barrymore mate. And they convinced him. And Albert Finney also was asked to play Lawrence of Arabia first, and he turned it down.
He screen tested for it, right? He screen tested.
Yeah, he told them they should go with Peter O'Toole. Yeah. So in a sense, I consider this a Peter O'Toole comeback. And Albert Finney made him a star with Lawrence of Arabia, and this gave him the big comeback. So I thought, I love this movie. This is oddly a film I did not see at the movies. What? I saw it later on television.
Oh, so, man.
This is one of my favorite movies of the period. I think Mark Lynn Baker is great. I love the comedy lesson he gives Jessica Harper.
Yeah.
It had a great payoff. I liked his analysis of comedy. I mean, I thought it was fabulous. And also that famous line in the ladies' room, this is for ladies only too, but in case I have to run some water. That was an actual John Barrymore thing. He had gone into the ladies' room and a woman confronted him about it. And that's what he said. So that's a good little piece of showbiz lore. But this was, I really love this film. And, I could have watched
and O'Toole was nominated for an Oscar for this, for Best Actor too.
Yeah.
So people recognize it.
Could have won. Did he win?
He did not win.
I love this movie, John. It's Peter O'Toole. He was so, and when he, at the end of the movie, when it's over with and he's getting his applause, and you could see in his eyes that that's him. It wasn't an actor. He felt the glory of all that applause that you get. I suppose you would know because you're an actor, when somebody likes your work and you get all that applause, that's got to feel wonderful. But I have a question for you, John, since you know this movie. So one amazing thing is in their Central Park, and he gets on that horse. And I don't think it was a double. I think he really got on that horse.
I looked at that, and the way they shot it, both their faces were not facing the camera, which led me to believe it wasn't them. Now, I will tell you, O'Toole wanted to do all the stunts, and he did. The number I heard was about 85% of the stunts he did himself. He wanted to do it. He wanted to show that he did it because Errol Flynn and John Barrymore, those guys, they all did their own stunts, and he wanted to reflect that. But I don't think so on that one, because especially when he reared the horse up, there's no way they're going to let Peter O'Toole do that.
Well,
they wouldn't have minded if they lost Mark Lynn Baker because
he was only introduced in that movie.
Yeah. And when he was introduced and he was on that horse, there was one shot of him on the horse. And
yes.
Have you ever ridden 2 people on a horse before?
No. I never have.
Awful scary.
Yeah.
And I could see, and the actors, the up and coming guy, you could see fear all over his face. And I said, that's real, because that's pretty scary when you're double. And I've done that. It's like, wow. it is really scary because that person who's on the, the rider is more experienced and they're going to take off,
Right.
They're going to run and you're just behind them. So the fear on his face was like, you could say, wow, he's really scared.
And can I say also that I think Peter O'Toole plays a very convincing drunk.
Yeah.
Like that, like when he's kind of out of it and he's just like eyes are darting back and forth.
He trained for that.
I'm in a family where there's been a little bit of alcoholism, and those Peter O'Toole expressions I've seen many times.
Yeah, he's good at it.
Yeah. So we don't want to monopolize it, but what's everyone else think?
Wojo, Brad? Brojo?
Stop calling us Brojo.
That's awesome. It's great. What's
your brand?
It's your brand.
It's a brand.
I liked it. I mean, I had never seen it. No.
Oh, you had never seen it.
Oh my goodness.
No, I had never seen it. What are you laughing at, Ralph?
I love your reviews. I liked it.
Well,
awesome.
No, I'm glad because you had never seen it. I'm just wondering what you thought about it in general. Brad, you've seen it though, right?
I've never seen it.
Oh, you hadn't seen it either? Oh.
Did you like it?
The answers are pretty good that I haven't seen movies you guys bring.
Did Brad like it?
I did. Yeah, I wasn't over the moon like you guys all were about it. I thought it was cute, I guess, like a cute movie. I mean, I didn't find myself, rolling on the floor the whole movie. I mean, there was a lot. I mean, obviously the physical humor with Peter O'Toole was just great with, some of the drunk scenes where he's just, falling on his face and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining.
It was interesting for me to see Mark Lynn Baker in something other than Perfect Strangers because he's had a lot of guest spots on things. Yeah. And it was my understanding that he was more well known as a Broadway actor. So it was interesting to see. And it was what I found surprising is that they introduce him in this movie as though, a lot of times when they introduce actors, introducing so-and-so, it's the beginning of a long, illustrious movie career. And that did not happen for him. And I'm actually curious as to why. I mean, he was good in this movie. He nailed the character. He was good.
He could have been Tom Hanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What?
He could have been big.
Nobody could
because of bosom buddies. You're saying comparing Perfect Strangers to bosom buddies?
Yeah.
No, come on.
Don't be ridiculous.
It's not even close.
I think he's got a good sense of comedy. I think, I didn't see him in enough drama, but I think he was very talented. I agree with Wojo. I think he should have.
He was good in the movie. Yeah.
Well,
he was good in it.
I think everyone else. Yeah. Okay. That's
What?
Nothing.
What?
I'm trying to think. I know he's done other things other than Perfect Strangers. He's just on something recently. I was talking to John or somebody about it.
And some other little bit spots.
He's been on Law and Order. He played a real.
I was going to say
he was on Law and Order.
I think just about every actor in the universe has been on at least one episode of.
But all these guys,
he played totally against type.
The Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian.
He what?
He played.
Well, you just answered your question because unless you're a brilliant actor like Dustin Hoffman, a guy that looks like that and is that short is not going to be leading man material. He's just not, and he's not a good enough actor to have a great career.
He's done a lot of one-offs.
Yeah.
A lot of
Not
one-offs.
leads, other than Perfect Strangers.
There was a lot of like Bill Macy's in this film.
Yeah.
And, from Maude, I love Bill Macy from Maude. His girlfriend, the woman playing his girlfriend.
I'm going to tell King.
And who's the guy that just would only whisper to his?
Oh, he had the one line in the movie. Oh my God. What did he say? Oh my God. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Now, see, that's based on Neil Simon's brother, who also wrote on, Sid Caesar's show, and he just would never speak. He wouldn't speak out loud. So that's really an in joke for.
All right, let's bring it all.
Wow.
Drew.
Did you know that Perfect Strangers had 150 episodes? It was over 7 years.
That was a huge hit. Perfect Strangers was a huge hit because of whatever his name was.
Yeah, Lotka. Yeah, Lotka.
I'm going to tell you, Mark Lynn Baker probably loves this movie. He's going to Google the movie. He's going to see this podcast, and we're all going to be expressing disappointment on his career. He's very successful. Very few actors
he is.
have a big
I really
movie.
like him.
big movies, big shows, continue to
I mean, he's
work.
been in a lot of stuff over the years.
He's
It's just,
been in a
he
ton of
he's
stuff.
Just not,
He was in Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Oh,
Yo.
yeah. Yeah, that was about the guy who jumped out of the plane. He jumped out.
No,
with
that's DB Cooper.
No, that's DB
Okay,
Cooper.
sorry.
And that was Treat Williams. Treat Williams.
Falling. That's right. That's falling. with
Drew,
Mr. Cooper.
dive in here, Drew. Let's hear. I want to hear Drew's take.
Well,
Drew, had you seen this?
I had not seen this movie. I'm a big fan of Peter O'Toole. There are other people in the movie that I really like. Like I'm looking at my notes, like Jessica Harper, and I don't know if you guys know the Oscars were last night, and Glenn Close tied Peter O'Toole's record of being nominated for 8 Oscars and so far never winning any.
That's a shame. She deserves
which
one.
is amazing. He lost to
Yes.
Ben Kingsley for Gandhi on this one, but the fact I don't
That's
know
what it
offhand who beat him for Lawrence of Arabia, but I mean that's one of the all-time.
Well, wasn't he nominated for the Stuntman too?
Yes, he was nominated 8
Oh, we
times
should bring that movie in. I was just
for
reading
for Beckett, for Lion in Winter, like all great stuff. He was not nominated for Caligula, which is really surprising because it's very moving in that movie. But you mentioned that Gloria Stewart was in the club dance scene, and she's very good in that one little scene. The woman that you see just for a moment in the hallway of the comedy show, and I've also actually been watching 30 Rock, so I wrote down that 30 Rock is following me around this week because it was that same backstage vibe at the TV station. The woman in the old gold box, that's Lana Clarkson, who got murdered by Phil Spector. So that was a little darkness in the movie that John brought, as well as the alcoholism in the.
That's why I didn't bring it up. You know,
yeah.
That was the best part of the movie, John.
The scene where Mark Lynn Baker, who also was excellent playing Mark Lynn Baker in The Leftovers.
That's where I saw him.
He takes Peter O'Toole's character. He takes him home to a dinner and then a gauntlet of neighbors when they leave.
That was
20.
great.
It's 20.
I would describe it as it's almost cartoonishly Jewish, but also based on my Jewish experience, extremely accurate and very funny. And I really liked the idea. I can't remember exactly what phrase he used, but basically that there are people in the world who are allowed to do what they want.
Yeah.
And movie stars are those people, and he's one of those people. He's clearly spent his whole life living like that, and I would imagine, Peter O'Toole himself. That's a pretty accurate description of it. That's what it means to be a movie star, which there aren't very many of anymore. And I thought that was kind of an interesting insight into what it would be like, because when you watch the movie, and I guess I don't know the movies, but all those clips of him swashbuckling, they're not actually copying Errol Flynn films. They actually are from his older films. Is that?
Well, they did recreate. They did recreate a scene. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That was taken right out of Robin Hood, from Robin Hood.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that was fun. But as soon as you saw that, and this is not a criticism at all, you knew he was going to swing into action at some point.
That's right.
And that was really fun. That was a fun and exhilarating ending. It stops very abruptly right after that, which was kind of jarring. I guess they could have showed hanging out at the grave, but I think that's the right choice, the way that they ended it. But it's like it's a light, sweet movie. I'd never seen it. I'm glad I saw it. If you want me to watch another Peter O'Toole movie again, there's a lot of other movies that I like better than this, but I'm glad that I saw this one.
Oh, by the way, we have to point out that Rookie Caruso, how do you pronounce the last name?
Coroca.
Played himself.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was a real boxer.
I did not know that. I just like
his,
Lady Kazan kept calling him Swanee. He's not a river man.
I also
Now, Al, if I bring home Capone or Jolson, it's
Peter
Al.
O'Toole's driver was great too. That guy.
Oh yeah,
he was very good. I forgot one thing. On my notes, I wrote Morty. You remember Morty? I wrote Morty is Jewish Sean Murphy. I don't remember why I wrote it, but it felt legitimate. And then also, one of the big surprises of the movie is not a sequel to My Favorite Martian, because it was less sci-fi than I was expecting. But I think it was still a good movie. So I enjoyed that.
You're going to be shocked by this, but I actually love this film. I love this.
How much did you drink before you watched this film?
Here's the thing. This is a film written by writers this is a film written by writers about writers. This is a film about people who love what goes on in the writers' rooms and all the crazy stuff that goes on. And this is also Peter O'Toole winking to us going, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I really felt like this is Peter O'Toole going, you're right, Drew. It's about actors get away with whatever they want. And he's going, you know what? I've been getting away with this for years, and I'm a phony. What you see is all bullshit. And that's what he says. That scene in the hallway we saw in the trailer is him going, look, I'm a fake, but it doesn't matter because we all want that fake. As an audience, we want to believe what he's doing. And I think Peter O'Toole deserved the Oscar for this one. I know Gandhi, great film, whatever, but Jesus, Peter O'Toole deserved this.
Yeah.
And I just love the shtick when Mark Lynn Baker brings his girlfriend back to the room to have a date when he's showing the film. And I just this and that scene you talked about in the apartment with all his family around. This thing is beautiful. It's a beautiful film.
And she's all gussied up in her gown.
I just think, and Kazan, is that her name? Lena Kazan.
Laney Kazan.
I could watch her all the time. That woman is fantastic.
Well, she created the role in the Broadway show that they did like 10 years later, something like that.
Oh, really?
She was the only one, but she was in it. Yeah. Tim Curry played Peter O'Toole's role.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I have this on Laserdisc. I've immortalized it in my collection because I liked it that much. So I think this is a fantastic.
Oh, I'm so
film.
glad to hear that. Did I say it was direct? I want to make sure I give the director.
Richard Benjamin.
Directed by Richard Benjamin.
Yeah.
Who, of course, was most famous for playing the lead in Quark. So just
and he was in the film.
But we're talking about the big
yeah.
one. This was the big one, Quark.
He directed a lot of
Garbage Scow in Space. No, he was in Westworld.
I also think it's worth noting that I watched this on HBO Max, and that is the same place that you can watch the new Mortal Kombat.
And we mentioned that on our show called Stream Quest. The logo here. Okay.
Oh my God! Seriously.
Well, it's all about branding, Wojo.
Which
branding.
logo though? We have
Brojo. It's all
Brojo. It's about branding.
All right. So I'm just gonna let's rate this thing. I think
I'm glad. It sounds like everyone liked it. I'm really glad about that.
Yeah, I gave it a big Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Oh, good.
I'm the only one that goes Yippee-Ki-Yay. Everybody goes thumbs up.
Yay.
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Way up. No, this is it gets a little sappy because that's
Well, it does.
I mean, what are you gonna do? But
It's got a lot of heart in it. You know,
it really does.
dying
And that
is
scene where he
easy.
comes down,
Dying
he
is easy.
shouts,
Comedy's hard.
when he the whole like side story about the mafia guys who are going after Joe, and then Joe Bologna is great. He's great as King Kaiser. I mean, a lot of great stuff.
Cameron Mitchell
I like
is
this
the gangster.
disposal business. It feels great.
Right.
I'm
And he
in
get the big
disposal-
hats.
Oh,
Big
by the
cigar,
way,
coming out with the big cigar.
you know, Caesar, because I listen to another podcast, I won't mention it, Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast, where they talk about 88-year-old, 90-year-old comedy writers all the time. And Sid Caesar was not above punching. He was much like this Joe Bologna character. He would punch people. He would get in like road rage fights. Like once a cab cut in front of him, he cut in front of it. And he went to the cab window. The guy tried to roll up the window. He grabbed the guy by the throat and said, "Do you remember birth?" Because he was going to drag him through the little hole. So Sid Caesar was not afraid to.
Yeah, he was a bear to work for.
A character.
They all said that. All the writers said that too. But all he cared about was the show. That's what meant everything to him. His name was on it, Wow. And it's a great show. If you've never seen it, go on YouTube and look at some of the sketches. They are hilarious. And he's great. He's great in it. And he's harder on himself than anybody. Once he got sober, he wrote an autobiography. I mean, he didn't hold back anything. So, I mean, Bologna did a good job of caricaturing him, but he was tough.
all the side
like
people. Go ahead, Wojo.
I was just gonna say I like when people write autobiographies and they're honest like that. When I interviewed Norman Lear, who was really big in the 70s, if you want to ding the bell, there you go. He said, I said, what was it like having 8 out of the 10 top 10 shows? And he said, I was a terrible husband. I was an absolute ass. You know what I mean? He said, because you can't have a family and do that.
Right.
And
that's how I listen. That's how I feel about these podcasts I produce. Same thing.
That's why I don't have children.
Kind of a dick. Me and Norman Lear, same thing. And George Pelicanos. I threw George Pelicanos out of my house. Biggest mistake of my life.
What a stupid thing.
That story
mistake of my life.
That story just gets better and better.
Anyway, all right. Now we got to
What's
spin the wheel. By
That
the way,
stinks.
anyway, John, good choice. That was a good one. That
Thank
was
you.
fun.
Sorry,
What-
I'm sorry, Ralph. You're gonna have to explain what he did that was so obnoxious. What?
You know, this
He
is
walked
you
in like
talk
he
about
owned the
this-
place, Deb. You know what I'm saying?
And it was my place,
Here's the deal,
man.
this is
You know
George-
how hard, you know how much time it takes to clean a place before you have a
No,
party?
but somebody walks in a
No.
room, you know that somebody thinks they own the room, even though it's not their house. And I was just in this mode of like, why is this? I don't know who they are. It's a neighborhood party. And this guy walks in, he acts like he was the king shit. I had no idea who he was. I'm like, I just don't like the vibe on this guy. And I got in his face. I got in the dude's face, and I'm like, Jesus, what are you doing in my house? I don't like the way you're acting. I kicked him out. 2 days later, someone said, that's George Pelicanos. He wrote for The Wire, and he has a lot of books. He's got a stat, look him up. He's this guy's. Anyway,
How did he find out?
and believe me, he doesn't know me.
Yeah,
It was my favorite scene in Mad Men. There's a scene in Mad Men where this young guy is like pissed off at Draper's character. And then he confesses to Draper that, all I do is think about you every night. You drive me crazy. And Draper looks at him and goes, I never think about you. And it's just, and that's what this was.
if he's on Twitter when I share this, I'll be sure to tag him.
The guy he's doing all kinds. The Wire is a big one. He's doing some more stuff too. Look him up. He's great. He's actually great. Good writer.
He's a wonderful party guest, really entertaining.
He's awesome.
He's awesome. So,
all right, now we
get the chance to hang out with
Ralph, if you didn't invite him.
Try to get him on the podcast.
Maybe I could do that.
Ralph, how did he end up at your house? What?
He lived in the neighborhood that I was living in,
And just saw cars. Said, I'm going to go over there.
That's what I mean. He just walked in. There's an open party.
That
going
almost
on.
sounds like something you would do.
That's exactly right. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. I think that's a little projection. That's what I think.
Might have been. All right, we only have 3 people on the wheel.
Oh my God, 3.
Let me do the German 3.
Who's left?
The German 3.
It's me and.
Wouldn't you rather go out speaking the Kings?
We got Sean, we got Brad, and we got Debbie. Stand by.
Wow, look at how big their faces are on that.
If I win, I'm going to pick a movie.
All right, there you go. Brad, you got a couple days to let us know what we got. All right.
I'll let you
Clean and
know.
sober. I'm trying to think of what movie Brad's going to pick.
The Accused.
The Father.
The Father, yes.
Accused.
The Father.
The Accused. Yeah, that's one we need.
That'll be a relaxing one.
Oh my
No.
God.
All right, everybody. Nice job, John. Good movie. Good
Thank
film.
you. Thank you. I'm glad you guys liked it. Really.
Thank you,
All
John.
right, and have a safe week, everybody.
Should we check out any other podcasts?
There's a couple you might want to watch, listen to, or watch. Movie Strange, cult in the Red Productions. We've also got
I think
Stream
there's one with
Quest.
George Pelicanos. You can watch.
That's a new one called.
It's called
can't
Party
believe I did
Crasher.
that.
People I've thrown out of my house.
My Life with Celebrities. I'll do
The
that
guest
one.
that wouldn't leave.
Because I also met Sylvester Stallone in New York City in the middle of the Rambo when he first did Rambo. He walks out of a cab, and I was in New York, and we walked up. He goes, "Get the fuck away from me." I don't know if he thought we were going to stalk him or what. And as John knows, I met all the Star Trek. I had all 7 of the original Star Trek people in one room, and I didn't get any autographs.
Oh, well, I'm not going to bother them and be like a geek.
The Russian guy, who's Chekhov?
The
Walter
Russian guy.
Koenig.
The
Walter
dude
Koenig.
ate like a pig at the buffet. You can't believe the amount of food that guy was stuffing in his mouth.
For the trekkers out there,
amazing.
don't pay attention to any of this crap that Ralph's saying, okay?
My
Please.
my wife won a contest and got to go up and hang out with George Takei and his husband for a while.
Oh,
He's just
I
one of the,
interviewed
wow.
him.
one of the
He's
sweetest
so
people
fun.
ever. I don't know how he is or
Really
isn't at a
nice.
buffet, but
Do
he's
you think
a really
he'd
remarkable guy.
subscribe to this podcast? Maybe share it, hit the
I
notification
actually
button?
threw George Takei out of my house one time.
Oh my!
Oh my! All right, everybody have a good week. We'll see you
Yep.
next week. Brad, give us give us a film in a couple days. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
All right.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Stay safe.
Yes.